Hi everyone, this is Ratelimiting from ClassroomIO. In this video, I'm going to show you the tech stack that we use to build Naijastars.dev. TLDR, it is a full stack Deno 2 application. I'm going to show you our development environment. I'm going to show you how we start up everything, how the front end and the back end works together, how deployment works, and so on and so forth. So yeah, stay tuned. Okay. Let's get to it. So if you come to this UI, basically, if you come to Naijastars.dev, you would see basically Naijastars.dev, if you haven't watched the previous video, is a website that allows you to see all the cool open source projects built by Nigerians. So basically, the UI is built with Sveltejs, a couple of cool animations going on here. So basically it is paginated. You can search, you can sort, and so on and so forth. Yeah, we just have this cool marquee component that just shows the top 10. Now, there's also an API, and that API is deployed here, api.naijastars.dev. Basically, it is the API that's powering this UI that you see here. And this API is also hosted with Deno. It's also written with Deno, sorry. And then the front end is with Deno plus Vite, right? Vite is the powering system, and then Sveltejs is the framework, or the library that we're using to build this UI. Okay, now let's get to the code. So this is the code base. To start with, I'm going to start with the Deno.json file. This is the packet.json. And these are basically tasks are like the scripts in Node.js, right? And yeah, we have simple tasks, like for example, start the front end dev server, build it. And if you notice, it's using Vite, but Deno allows you to use this npm declarative just right in front of it. So you can do your normal Vite build, Vite preview. There's also the backend. Sorry, this is different. Okay, this is for the deployment. So once it's deployed, Deno Deploy, you can just start. So after running fe build, you run fe serve, and it just runs it in production, right? So basically, development environments, for you to get development environments for you to get real-time changes as you make changes. You definitely use fedev, but to serve, you need to have the build and then run the server. Okay, now the backend is quite interesting. So for the backend, allow all basically is this flag that because there's a couple of things that you need to give permissions to, and that's the beautiful thing about Deno. You have to give permissions before you can access certain things in the file system or in the computer and so on. So Deno is that amazing. So I just put this flag here to allow all by default. Watch is for changes. So if any change happen, if I make any change in the code base, it should restart the server, just like nodemon in Node.js. File, so it reads the .env file. Unstable crons, because I have a cron, because Deno provides a Cronjob, it comes with the library itself. So next things is the main. So it runs the main.ts file. So it's at the end that you specify the file. I'm going to go to the backend. Before I go too far, let me take you to the README, and I'll show you. So if I open this in preview, you would see the tech stack. So we use Deno for the backend and runtime, Deno Deploy for deployment, Svelte plus Vite for the front end, and Honojs for the so we're not using Express or anything, we're using Honojs. And Deno provides API for serving the backend, but for creating REST APIs, but Honojs is much smaller much more robust. You can structure routes and things like that. So Hono comes with a couple of middlewares like caching and so on and so forth. So it's like really cool out of the box. Not like Express where you have to like install many of these extra packages. Hono just gets it done. Neon, we use Neon for the database. That's basically a Postgres database to store everything, and then Upstash for Redis and rate limiting of the API. Because right now the API is free, so we need to put some guardrails so we don't have people breaking down the API. Okay, good. Now let's go to the backend. Let's start from the backend. So everything begins from the main.ts file, right? So basically we're just importing all the stuff that we need from Hono. Hono has a rate limiter, Hono has a cache mechanism, it has course, right? All these things, you just install Hono and then you get them out of the box, which is really good. Redis store. So basically for the, like, we also use, I'm using Upstash and Redis to like rate limit the API, like I mentioned earlier. Now this is a script called script. This is basically the script that helps to generate the content that's here. We pull the content from a site called Made in Nigeria.dev, and basically it's a cool website that curates all these tools in a GitHub repo, which is public. So we script that and insert it into the database. There's no need to go too deep into that. This import here is to allow you to load .env, that's your env file. So I will not open the env, but we have .env for the example. Basically, this is what you need to run both the front end and the back end actually. So like a couple of this stuff. So this is the only stuff for the backend, the Vite API URL, but the rest is for the front end. So anyways, let's make sure that we have the dot. So when you do deno.env.get, you put the environment variable here and it works. Here is the middleware. So we structured it in such a way that, okay, middleware is first. So middleware here is course to enable like the request to come in from anywhere. Caching, we have rate limiting, like I mentioned earlier with Redis. It should only work in production, not locally, because it's easy to like exhaust it locally. And then we serve the requests. Okay, I didn't mention this, but this is basically the repositories handler. So like if you come to API, you see these v1/repositories, this get request. So everything v1 goes into this route. I'm going to show you. There's a folder called routes and repository.ts. Again, this is basically the API. A get result. We're using Zod for validation to validate the API. Right now, we're just using the raw SQL from Neon. So if I go into services and db.ts, basically this is a singleton that connects to the Neon serverless package and then exports basically the SQL clients, so we can then write SQL queries. But anyways, yeah, all this beautiful stuff is for pagination logic. We get the counts, we select all the repositories for pagination, and then based on the request that came in, we can limit, offset. Basically, this is an edge case that I experienced. If I was using something like Prisma or Drizzle, I might not experience this, but there was no need for an ORM. But yeah, I couldn't find an easy way to insert like ascend dynamically or descend, right? So we had to use this approach. Obviously, it's not scalable as if you want to add more and more sort keys, and you want to make the order dynamic, right? So, but anyways, it works. The pagination works out of the box. This is for search, practically the same thing. Obviously, we need to fix these types here, but like not really complicated. Basically, we just need to infer that this is an array of repository. We have the type actually. I think I use it somewhere So I have utils, I have types, and repository. Basically, this is what we're storing in the database, or this is what we expect to pull out from the database. The types are all structured here, and they're majorly used in this script file. So this is where we kind of like fetch the data from. Okay, this is fetch data from GitHub. Convert to JSON. Okay, the script basically it goes into the GitHub that I mentioned earlier, passes the content, returns an array here. We take the content of the README because that's where the content is, convert it, blah blah blah, pass it. Then to get the stars, that's this the stars data that you can see here, we are actually making an API request to GitHub. Obviously so we have a sleep time of 400 seconds. This is like the GitHub headers that we're sending via the API. So to get other metadata, more information about like the author, the repo, the license, the stars, and so on and so forth, we need to make a request to GitHub. So that's why we have this function. And then it's then we then make a request to store it in the database. So this script basically just makes sure that we always have the data that we need to render this beautiful UI always up to date. This runs as a cron job. If you go into main.ts, here, Deno cron. I don't know why I get this TypeScript error. If you know, so this comes and this goes. I'm using cursor, so I don't know exactly if I'm missing the type. Okay, that's everything about the backend. Let's move to the front end. Okay, for the front end, Vite is the runtime. So let's start from Vite config. Basically, the Vite config is very simple. You just need the Deno plugin and the Svelte plugin. Vite is simply amazing. Environment variables, you can pull them in like this. They would work fine, pretty fine. If there's any package that you can install, so to install packages, what I did was you would use this npm in front of this and then the name of the package. So like npm package name. That's if the package does not exist with JSR. JSR is the package manager that Deno uses. So, and the beautiful thing about this is that you can use any package from npm or JSR. They have standard libraries as well. You're not limited to those. So that's why I can like have Sveltejs work with like any UI library and I will be fine, right? Okay. So back to this. This is basically the Deno, the Vite setup. So the UI is located in the SRC folder. Basically, that's everything for the UI. I already have this because I'm using Svelte shardcn for the component library. That's why we're able to do this, make this beautiful stuff. So if I come to like this animations is from a different library, not Svelte shardcn. However, the button, the icons, the table, everything is managed by Svelte shardcn. Now, the Svelte shardcn is this like wonderful port of shardcn, but for Svelte, really good. I recommend you use it. Now, just a simple structure. So in the lib folder, we have assets, components, functions, pages. So I use the concept of pages from SvelteKit. I didn't use SvelteKit for this because I didn't want to push it too far. My main aim in this project was to like try out Deno, use Deno extensively as much as I could. And I would sit here there, I really enjoyed the experience. So yeah, it's basically a simple Svelte. It's a single page application. That means, so if you notice, there is some form of routing here. So like if you come to API, it takes you to this different page. If you come to the home page, it takes you here. If you come to these other pages, These are different routes, completely different routes. These are coming soon anyways. And this all works with like dark and light mode. Anyways, and if you come to all projects, you get this. Okay, good. Now, obviously everything begins from the app.svelte. But yeah, we're using Svelte routing for this. There is the navigation, it's consistent. So this is kind of like, if you use Svelte kit, this is kind of like the layout file. And then we specify the routes here. So like this is the like starts. The starts pages are these ones that are here that says coming soon. And then the API route is the one I just showed you with the API docs, and then the root page is this one page, right? And then I try to like make sure that we break them down in such a way that the page's name matches the name of the route. This is easy for development. Now, obviously for home is slash, but like home should make sense, right? Every page, page should, or page folder should have a page.svelte file. Basically just for consistency. There's no rule in this, like you determine how it works. The API base URL basically is the deployment of the backend. That's the API URL that we're using to fetch. So this is for the search. This is for the fetching of all the repos that we display in the table. That's it. Now let me show you how I start everything. So I have two options. Either I run, so obviously first of all you need to make sure that you have this environment variables. Like it's not required to have this. This is only for production for me. This is not also required because this is only necessary for scraping the data. So you don't need this. You majorly need this database URL. I can make a different video on how to set this up with Neon, but it's pretty straightforward. Now, if we go to the Deno.json, to give you an idea, I have this dev, and basically, like the cool thing is like in Node.js, you have to install like concurrently or something to run like two commands at the same time. Like you could run. So I'm running the front end and the backend simultaneously. But in the environment variable, I already have specified the path to the backend, okay, /v1. So that's why like the front end works seamlessly. So if I run Deno run dev, that would run both the backend and the front end. Okay, so if I come back to Deno.json, so you see this fedev and bedev. Now basically fedev just runs Vite, right, and bedev just runs the main.ts. Like the stuff is pretty fast, like extremely fast. That's one cool thing about Deno. If I go to, so basically the front end is this localhost 5173, the back end is on localhost 8000, and yeah. So if I open this and I go to a new tab and I go to this localhost 5173, that's actually like it's already saved for me. Okay, cool. So here it is, running locally. This is also fetching locally. Interested in checking out the GitHub, just go to Naijastars.dev/GitHub. Enter. Cool. And then you're here. So you can fork the repo. You can do whatever you want with it. Ask me questions if you're interested. Create an issue, a pull request, whatever you want to do. Yeah, and that should be it. Thanks. Cheers.